Hello kids, today I'm going to teach you how to use watercolor crayons. Now you're going to need some supplies for this. You are going to need watercolor crayons, which you can find in the drawing studio. You are going to need water, which you can find over by the sinks near the painting studio. And you are going to need paintbrushes of your choice, which you can also find in the painting studio. And you may also want a pencil and eraser. Now, watercolor crayons are a lot like the trays of watercolor that we use. They're just kind of in a different form. So to show you how they work, I'm going to pick two colors that go together. So I'm going to pick green and blue. I really like those colors. And I'm just going to show you how they work. So I'm going to just put some green down, and you're going to notice that they go on a lot like crayons. They're just like crayons. Okay, then I'm going to use some blue. I'm trying to blend the colors together. So I'll overlap them. I'm going to put a little bit of blue over my green. Maybe put a little bit of green over my blue. Now that I have my space filled in that I want to use, I'm going to use my water. Okay, so I'm going to use my water bucket, put it over here. Unscrew the lid. And I'm going to pick out my paintbrush. I think I'm going to use the red one. Okay, I'm gonna just tap the bristles to make sure there's no dried on gunk on there from somebody else not taking care of my supplies. But this is nice and soft, so this should work. I'm gonna dip it in the water just a little bit. If your brush is really super full of water and you don't want that much water, you can scrape it on the side just like this. Okay, I think I want more water, not less. Okay, and now all you do is you take it and you spread it over your crayon, your watercolor crayon, and you can see those crayon marks that you made pretty much go away, and you can see that it turns it into paint. And what's really good for, it's good for blending colors because the colors are right next to each other and it looks really good. So now I'm going to take my dirty brush, I'm going to clean it off because I think I'm going to switch colors. So how this might look in a painting or a drawing or something is I'm going to take my pencil, and over on this side of the paper, I think I'm going to do like a flower. So really lightly, you can barely see that, I'm going to draw a flower. With some big petals, it's kind of a huge flower. And now I'm going to add some colors. So I think I'm going to do orange and yellow on the inside of my flower, and I want it to look round, kind of like a sunflower. So I'm going to start with the yellow. I'm going to start with the lighter color. And I'm coloring it kind of in swirls. You can do it in lines. You can, however you want. I'm going to try and go a little bit lighter on the orange. I don't want a crazy amount of orange. I want it to be mostly yellow. I just want the orange there for some shading. Okay. Now what I can do is I can take my brush, same as before, dip it in my water, and then I'm going to start with the light color. Always start with the light color. And then work to the darker color. So I'm working to that orange. And I'm just moving the brush, trying to make those swirling marks that I did with the crayon, trying to make them go away as best as I can. Some of them might still peek through, and that's still okay. So now it looks kind of like I have a light part over here and a dark shadowy part over there. Now, if I wanted to do the petals, I couldn't right now because this is wet, so I need to let that dry. Then I can move on to the petals. But let's say I had maybe a big leaf over here. Since that is not next to the wet paint, I could work on coloring that. So maybe I'll do some green, and let's see what colors I have here. Looks like I just have one shade of green, so it looks like I'll do green and yellow. So I'll do a little bit of yellow over here. Remember, start with the light color, so I started with yellow, then go to green. Color that in. Now time for blending. So I can take my brush, dip it in the water, start with the light color, starting with that yellow, heading to that green. Ooh, it's just what I wanted. I wanted not a lot of green. I wanted it to look kind of like lime green. That's the color I was going for. And you know what? I think that yellow is just a little too bright, so I'm going to brush as much of the green over top of that yellow as I can get so it looks more lime greenish. Okay, so again, I can't do the petals because they are really close to that wet spot, and that wet spot has to dry before I can work on it. So right now, if this was my drawing, I would wait, maybe find another activity to do, maybe work in my sketchbook, maybe try some different colors on some scrap pieces of paper, but because those are wet, I can't put colors next to them. Okay, the other thing I could have done is I could have colored the whole flower, then put water over the whole flower, and done the petals and the middle all at the same time. That probably would have been a better idea than doing one section at a time. All right, that is how you do watercolor crayons. I hope that you will experiment with them in the future.